Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well. I got rid of the old boom arm because that was crazy me the other night. We did the long live for those of you who joined us. Yes. I had to set the long live, by the way, to private. The reason being was sadly, on Josh's segment, he used some music in it, and that music was subject to copyright. Now, all of the music that I normally play, I have to pay for that music. I have an Epidemic Sounds account, so I can play music in the background. But that wasn't my music; it was Josh's music. So I'm not sure where he got it from, but they copyright claimed the video. So I'm currently trying to edit that segment to strip the music without losing Josh's narration and replace the music. And that's not the easiest task in the world. But yes, we'll get there. But that's why you can't at the moment see it. But yeah, we've done about £650 in total on that night. I think that was about 240 in Buy Me a Coffee, 115 I think in the merch, and the super chats on the channel, which was about £300 I think. So there or thereabouts. Which, to be fair, that's a good chunk towards this sending them away. Probably do the spender money because we like to give them spender money. Do you know what I mean? So they ain't got to worry about anything. So that will pretty much cover that. What are you raising dollars for, Harsh? Living on my own GoFundMe, or I would definitely help. No, don't you? I say to everybody, if you're not in a position to help, don't worry about that. Do not worry. Always look after yourself first. We don't like asking for anything. But we are trying to do what we did last summer and send a young family on holiday. But how is everyone? I hope you are all well anyway. Who have we got in? We've got My May. Hello, My May. We've got Kristen. Hello. We've got Karen. Hello. I see, Karen, you had a look at this story. Yeah, this is a bit of a horrendous story. But I just thought, for those of you who have been around the channel for a while, you know that I covered this story. Originated in the UK, and I've spoken to Angel's family. I was talking to them at the time, and yeah, it's a bad one. But I wanted to bring people's attention to it because I think this is quite an important topic, a very important topic for those of the people out there who go through it themselves, or they may know someone who's going through it. There may be someone who thinks they know someone who may be going through it, or even a parent, whether that be a parent of a boy or a girl, because it would definitely seem that both males and females can be subjected to this domestic violence. But Angel's case was one that ended in a catastrophe. So it is about bringing people's attention to it. Hello, Ken. I see Ken in the house. Did I say hello, Superior, as well? Superior, My May, Kristen, Karen, Lorna. Hello, Lorna. Was it Lorna who said they was not stay? They couldn't stay. I think Lorna's got work or something. Mysterious headlines. Hello there. Hello. I was trying to read chat while I was setting the audio up. You know, like the other night in the live when I started talking and no one could hear me. Well, I had to try and I wanted to make sure that everything worked before I got on this evening, rather than get on and then try and sort everything out. But let's have a look. So before we jump in, we'll let a few more people trickle in. I know this isn't going to be a real busy live, so we don't have to worry about delaying chat or anything like that. I know the vast majority of people on this channel are here for Idaho content, but yeah. But you know me, this is something that is very close to my heart. Some of you will know, some of you won't know, some of you have been here for a while, may know. But when I was younger, in my much younger years, I had a friend, and she was basically stabbed to death by her boyfriend. And yeah, she was due to move away for a period of time, and he stabbed her to death. Actually went into the shop that she was working at in our local town centre and stabbed her to death in the shop. And yeah, like I say, it was when I was a teen. I was in my teens. But yeah. But this is something that, again, for that reason, not only that reason, but certainly a contribution towards it. This is something that I have opinions on and feelings about. But before we get on, I will just let's jump into chat. I've changed the colour a bit. I went to white. The blue, I like blue, but it was crazy me a little bit. Yeah, it was crazy me a bit. Like, I can do this, you see, with white. Let me just try and control that. So I can change the light in the background. Should be able to. No, we don't want red, do we? We don't want red. See, we can still have blue. We can have a bit of green. We can have. So have some purple. Let's have some purple. Bit of purple. So how is everyone then? How is everyone? Is there anybody in who has been affected by the big winds, the tornadoes? Hopefully you are all safe. Let me drag this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to see if I can bring that down here. Should be able to bring this down here, so I don't have to keep looking up. See, I don't have to keep looking. I'll put that down there for now. Here we go. Why is it now not doing that? White looks nice. Yeah, like I say, the blue. I like the blue. I love it, but it's just got a bit bored of it. Just got a bit bored. What if I bought a new hat and it was a different colour? I'd then have to change everything. Wouldn't I? Mrs. Harsh is actually unwell. She's actually in bed. I don't know whether it was the fact that she pretty much stayed up till about 2 o'clock the other morning, 2 or 3 o'clock, when we was doing the live, and then she didn't have a great night the following night. But she's a bit down. She's been knocked out with a bit of a cold and what have you. I'm a tornado. Yes, I was in the tornadoes last night. Well, thankfully, because you're here, you're obviously safe. Hello, Dope. I think you did send me a message, Dope, but I haven't got round to reading it. I'll try and read it when I get off here. Been a bit hectic today. Went down in some mines yesterday. But I'll give you, so with respect of Angel, her mum reached out and gave me an update, because some of you may have seen that they did a documentary on it. It was let me just see if it's in the chat here. In the chat. It is in the chat, because I know that her mum sent me it. I'm trying to remember what it was called. So it was called Kidnapped, the Angel Lynn story, and it's just received a True Crime award for Outstanding Documentary Film. So yeah, they've just received that. But yeah, it was it went in depth. I did cover it in a video just after that came out. But but it showed that Angel had made some progress. She'd come a long way, and I'm going to go back in a second. I'll show, because some of you won't have seen this, but I've got some of the original videos that I did, and it shows the actual moment when Angel was bundled into the back of a van. But the story goes that Angel was with someone, a guy called Shay Bowskill, and he was a little prick, and he would grab Angel off the street and throw her into the back of a van. That van would then go down one of the motorways in the area, and she would be ejected from that van. Now, obviously, we weren't in the van, so we don't know 100% what had happened, but we know that one of two things happened, and that is that she was either thrown from the van or she feared so much for her life that she jumped from the van. And either one of those is absolutely horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. What's that? Are you going to show D.O. Brian Koberger if force in my OP unneeded trial? I have no clue what you're trying to say there, my friend, but we're not talking about Brian Koberger in this live at all. So if you've come here for that, sadly, you're going to be disappointed. Out of respect for Angel, her family, and anybody who is a victim of domestic violence, that's what we're talking about in this. So, yeah, we're not talking about Idaho 4. Lillian yeah, I've seen the documentary. Broke my heart. My daughter has been through very similar with coercive control messages and physical abuse. I think the scary thing is that, you know, people can be suffering, especially like for parents who have got like kids. Their kids can be going through it, and it's so hard. It's so hard to navigate and manage. Like, some people can turn around when harm comes to a child and say that it was down to neglect of the parents. You know, like we've said, like in things like the Summer Wells case, the Michael Vaughan case, and even the Sebastian Rogers case. But when it's this type of thing, this is a whole different ball game. A whole different ball game. Because we know what, especially young girls and young boys, when they get into a relationship, when they feel that this person is their entire fucking world, you know what I mean? And they're not going to listen to anybody. And in fact, if you as a parent try and intervene, 9 times out of 10, your child is going to dig in deeper. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like their knee-jerk reaction to your disapproval is to dig their fucking heels in. But where can you watch the documentary? I think you can, if you go, because it's a UK documentary. I don't know if it's worldwide. I know some people can watch it, but if you Google it, kidnapped, the Angel Lynn story, you will likely find it. There'll be a streaming service that will allow you to stream it, I would imagine. Hello, Aunt B. I see Aunt B here, and we've got Tracy in the house as well. But yeah, so the documentary would show Angel had done, you know, has come on in leaps and bounds. She was starting to talk again, to say mum. But sadly, that progress was short-lived, because 2023 was a bad year for Angel. I'll read you what Nikki, her mum, sent, and it was, Angel had a bad year in 23 with allergic reaction to meds. She also had aspiration pneumonia, so set her back massively. She's back on track, and although she's making good progress, she's got so far to go yet. Angel has further tests coming up to see what's going on with her throat, lungs, etc. She's NBM, which is nil by mouth. That boy has taken so much from Angel and us as a family. Domestic violence affects so many people. And I really hope Angel's story helps others see that coercive and controlling behaviour is not love. We really struggle still seeing Angel like she is now, but we're a close family and we'll all do whatever it takes to make her life the best we can for her. And she sent me a small video which I've edited and I will show you guys in a second. But she said the video I sent you I was going to post on her page, but I'm going to leave it for you to put on. Do you mind if I say you're doing an update? She was just talking about that. And yeah, so I'll show you this video. Let me just get this chat back out of the way. But this, if for some of you who have been following this, because this is something that wasn't even able to be done by Angel in the documentary. So this is actually really good. But because again, what happened was that Angel would have a catastrophic injury. Obviously, when she was ejected from the van, she suffered completely life-altering injuries. But let me just get back onto this screen here. I'll give you that screen. I'll move my fat head out the way. I'll put me over here. And then we will we'll do this. Let's play this.
Down. Good. Yeah. Right foot forward. Good. Then left. Left. Okay. Then right. Better. Left. Right. That's it. Left. We need a longer corridor. Okay, why don't you sit down? Okay, sit down. Yeah, let's sit down, buddy.
So that was a short video we made, and it's showing Angel starting to learn to walk again and making massive progress with it. But let me just go back into chat briefly. Back into chat. Then I'll come back out. Have a look and see some of the comments. Let's have a look. Can't harsh and speak a little about growing up being gaslit from a mum towards a child. I was affected by this for decades, and no psychologist or therapist ever told me or figured out the abuse to me. I think the downside is the medical profession, unless it's something very simple, they don't really want to know. They don't really know how to handle it, and I think that's the big thing. They just don't know how to handle it. That's why so many things take either so very long to get sorted out, or they just never get sorted out. But we're going to look at some bits and pieces in a minute, some quite scary statistics. But I think if Angel's story can teach anybody anything, it is that it is a difficult thing to deal with. And it's very hard to navigate. Very hard to navigate. Is it impossible to navigate? I think it's important to understand, especially parents to understand, that may be impossible for you to navigate on your own. I think it's about everybody, both parents and friends, making sure that they don't lose contact or allow the coercive person to get in between you and your friend or you and your child. That's the hard thing, That's the hard thing, because that is part of the abuse. The part of the abuse of the abuser is to damage the connections between their victim and any form of escape, if you like. An escape maybe through friends or family. So as soon as they've cut them off and they've isolated them, but isolation can't genuinely happen unless people succumb to that isolation. I just wouldn't. If you are someone who thinks that your friend is indeed being, abused, then you have a responsibility to make sure that that is taken incredibly seriously. And it's almost like you've got to do what's best for them, even if you feel at that point that that could come between you and your friend. But let me just come into here. There's not enough education out there. It needs to be spoken about in high schools, colleges, and universities 100%. Rather than teaching children that it doesn't matter if they want to dress up like a cat and piss in a litter box, they should be teaching both boys and girls how to spot coercive, abusive behaviour in relationships and what to do when that happens. But with respect of the incident that would lead to Angel's injuries, and this is scary because this is how quick it can happen. This is how quick. Okay, so this is a scary thing to watch, because it just shows how quickly things can happen. I'm just trying to get myself out of the way before I play it. Let's play this. This is a clip from an old video that I did originally when they come out in broad daylight. So for some of you, and there's me in my younger years, that was about a year ago. So that is how quick it was. That's how quick. Walking along the street, mind your own business, and like in a blink of an eye, Angel's life would be completely changed. Completely changed. But that is how quick that can happen. And that should scare people. Let's have a look. Leanne Gill. Oh yeah, defo. Friends are usually the first to go, then family ties are severed. Luckily, he didn't get the chance because I found out what he was doing and told my daughter I knew. You're fatter there. Thanks, Pixie. I am. I've lost like 2 stone. More than 2 stone. 2.5 stone in like the last 3 months. So what happens when you train and eat healthy? There's that COVID, you see. When that happens, I give up going to the gym all the while, mainly because the gym's all fucking shut. But yeah. I think times are very different now. When I was younger, abuse brought shame, and a lot of people just hid it out of fear of being judged or not believed. It was so hard back then. The problem is, Amy, I think this still exists. Where people, and this is where I feel that parents should be taught how to navigate this. Because some parents can go into this, I feel, a bit of a wrong angle. And they can almost cause a situation where their child almost wants to prove the parents wrong. And that's the problem that we have in today's society, I think, is that the youngsters growing up today, they almost don't want to be seen to be wrong and their parents to be right. So they would even go so far as to believe that they can live in this situation that they're in and navigate it and get out of it and change it, rather than admit to their parents, yeah, you're actually right and I'm fucked. Do you know what I mean? And that's a scary thing. How much is a stone? £14 in a stone, I believe. £14 in a stone. So I've I think about £32 I've lost in just under 3 months. The 8-hour live is not able to be seen yet. I've got to edit it to remove some music out of it. Yeah, £14. Look, £14 in a stone. Parents' hands are tied, and a lot of cases, yeah. It's a scary thing. It is a scary thing. I probably stayed too long for that very reason as a young girl. Yeah, and that's what we hear. So it's trying to teach people how to navigate that situation. There needs to be more of that, and even because I don't think you can even teach the kids themselves how to navigate it that well, because they will still see this as almost like a me versus my parents situation. So I think that there should potentially even be a situation where schools or educational settings bring in both the kids and the parents together. And this should be a situation. A stone is £14. Yeah, it should be done together. Should be done together. I don't think you needed to lose any, but it's about how you feel. I definitely did. I definitely did need to lose some. And I actually want to lose another. A stone is either a weight or a pebble. That's correct. A skimming stone. £13, Dixie. We use metric system over here. Oh, yes, we do. Proper measurements, Ken. Proper measurements. That'll cause some fucking arguments. That'll cause some arguments. I've noticed the weight loss for the past week. Congratulations, I lost £40 while working at the Cheesecake Factory. I'd probably put on £40 if I worked at a Cheesecake Factory. So well done you, mate. Well done you, because that's literally like my favourite food. I love cheesecake. I absolutely love it. But just have a look at it, because I think what people don't understand as well, and even grown people don't understand this, that there is a lot. When we think domestic abuse, we just think of being slapped about. Do you know what I mean? That's what people think. That's like the image that conjures up in your brain. But that's not all of it. Do you know what I mean? There are so many types of abuse, and that's the downside. It's the fact that not many people also consider other things as abuse. And I think there needs to be a lot more done in terms of letting people getting people to understand about what types of abuse there are. You know, even things like financial abuse, where a partner will take control of their partner's finances. This is something that we saw in our own family. For those of you who know, when I talk about the arsehole cop who was stitching up, and this situation's messed up, mate. And this is why I do not like police. Because we've seen it. We've seen how they can be coercive, they can be abusive, and the system allows them to get away with it. Meringue. Oh, yes. Yes. Lemon meringue pie. Lovely. Anyway, I'm not going to keep talking about food. That's going to do me in, Ken. I'm like, on like, what am I on? 1,800 calories a day, I think. 1,800 calories a day. And I'm doing 2 hours of cardio a day. 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening. Mental, emotional, sexual, financial, just hands-on. Yeah, it's not just hands-on. And to be fair, the hands-on stuff is sometimes not the worst. The other stuff, you know, even if a partner tries to cause issues between you and your children, their aim is to, you know, disconnect you from your kids or your family. you know, even that can be a form of abuse. But let's just have a look at this page here. There's some facts. I'm just going to go over the UK and the US statistics. But the police receive domestic abuse related calls every 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Yes, it is estimated that less than 24% of domestic abuse crime is reported to the police. So think about that. So there's a domestic abuse related call every 30 seconds, but it is estimated that less than 24% of domestic abuse crime is reported to the police. 1 in 4 women in England and Wales will experience domestic abuse in her lifetime. And I believe it's actually 1 in 6 males. So 1 in 4 women, 1 in 6 males. These are UK. I'm going to jump across to the US in a second. But yeah, 1 in 4 women, 1 in 6 men, about 2 million a year. It's crazy figures. Crazy figures. On average, 2 women a week are killed by a current or former partner in England and Wales. If you are afraid of your partner, refuge, which is where these statistics come from, always call 999 in an emergency. Yeah, and imagine how many aren't reported. Well, there you go. There's the statistic, mate. If you think there's every 30 seconds there's a call, so there you go. That's, you know, that's 120. What? 120 an hour. 120 an hour. Put that over the course of a year, and a quarter. Yeah, that's only, you know, estimated the less than 24%. It takes on average 7 attempts before a woman is able to leave for good. Leaving an abusive partner is a process, not a single act. And this is something that's a massive thing. It is a process, and it becomes a process when the person who has been the abuser has done the things that we've just spoken about, and that is made them become disconnected from their family and friends, so they are on their own. And this is why we have to do more about stopping the abuse, enabling them to sever the links that they sever. You know, that's going to make a huge difference if we can stop them being able to do that. A lot of victims are trauma bonded to their perpetrator, which they confuse for love. They do indeed, and it's like how people can. Let me just come back up. It's like when they say that people who have been in an abusive relationship, they also are renowned for, when they get into a relationship that is a good relationship, that feels alien to them. So they can get into a scenario where the familiarity of the abuse and the control is something that they actually long for and almost prefer, because they've been conditioned to live in that way. It's like a dog, isn't it? It's like a dog. If you keep a dog in a cage for long enough, the dog is going to be scared of being out and having freedom, and you can't just put it out and it's going to think, "Oh, I'm free. That's brilliant." It doesn't work that way. That releasing back into the wild is a process. And that's the downside. The downside is that's why, you know, domestic abuse is so dangerous, because if someone's been in it for so long, it almost just becomes a vicious circle, because the abused person just longs for that familiarity. And even if familiarity comes from abuse, that's what they search for. Men are good at putting on a fake face for other people too, and good at gaslighting. But so are females. So are females as well, because they put on a fake face to hide the abuse. I think many people who are being abused, not all, but many, know they're being abused, but they will put on a fake face to hide it from the people who are still in their lives. So, men and females alike are just as good at, hiding what is going on. The manufacturer of madness I investigated. I know how it all came to this. Let's have a look. Angel. My son was with a psycho who love-bombed, gaslit, threatened suicide when he ended it, so he'd go back, as she'd say she was pregnant 9 times out of madness, once plausible, but not 9 times in 7 months. And again, I think this is something here that is quite... that happens a lot more than we probably even realise. Genuinely, I think that's a massive one. Thank you very much, Dixie, for gifting, and Janine Brown received that gifted membership. Let's have a look. I thought everyone hated me at one point, even started to suspect my family of being two-faced when it was him and his psycho mum staring. She eventually attacked me in 2016, 9 years after we broke up. I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, and that's part of it. If you're in a relationship with someone, you should be with somebody who makes you feel happy all the time. Being in a relationship with someone shouldn't feel like it's a chore. And I feel that would be the first red flag to me. If I was with somebody, or I had if I had a child who I suspected was in a coercive relationship or something like that, and that would be my advice to anybody, and that would be, if you are in a relationship and that relationship starts feeling like a chore, like you are having to do work, and what I mean work is you're having to do stuff to please your partner, or there is repercussions to it, then that is a massive, massive red flag. Massive red flag. She brought cat scans from Etsy too, told me my dream of being a granny was coming true, as I knew all I wanted after my diagnosis in case I didn't get the chance. She is like nothing you've ever known. Oh, I don't know. I've known some pretty evil people. Having children with an abuser is the worst situation. The kids see it all and they'll copy the behaviours. Getting it out when you have kids is 100% harder. And sadly, Amy, my partner, Mrs. Harsh, she was in an abusive relationship. Her partner was in the forces, in the RAF, and he was a violent drunk. And he's not a nice person, and we're going through some stuff as of now. He is actually Hayden's biological father, and he's not a nice person, not a nice person at all. And we are currently dealing with some things. I've had to put him in his place a few times. But the downside is he won't say anything to me. So he does different things. But I've heard some of the stories and the stuff. It's mind blowing. And again, this is another reason why domestic violence is such an important thing to me. My own partner went through it, and it still suffers from the repercussions of it. A healthy relationship consists of communication and healthy conversations. It just flows. Absolutely. Sometimes it's hard to break things off when kids are involved. Here in the US, the court steps in and makes sure kids still see their dads, even if they're abusive. I know we've seen this. We've seen this with Jules of all trades, the stuff that she's been going through. Jules. I don't know if every one of you actually knows, but after me and Jules had our falling out, Jules' partner, ex-partner, the one that she's having the issues with, actually reached out to me. He tried to get me to, well, he tried to rubbish Jules behind her back. I think he was trying to form an allegiance with someone who he thought, because I had had a falling out with Jules, that I would join him. But I actually sent all of the emails that he sent me to Jules. I wasn't getting involved with that. You know, the life on here, on this platform, and the things we can fall out over and all that, it's very different to real life. Do you know what I mean? Real different than real life. But the system is flawed. The system is flawed, and again, we are smack bang in the middle of the system. And I'm guessing the system in the US is just as bad, if not worse, than the UK. If you need help when you're in a bar in England, you have to ask for Angela. Yes, Angela. Jules is amazing. I can't imagine having to go through all of that. Yeah, like I say, but again, it's something that a lot of people are suffering with. So people are suffering a lot. And, you know, and we know, and the scary thing is, it isn't just adults. It isn't people in adult relationships. We know that it is people like Angel as well, who are young teenagers, both boys and girls alike. And the downside is as well is when they got that young. Again, it's like when I speak about people who are almost conditioned to seek out these toxic relationships, because again, that familiarity is what they look for, and they mistake that for a good thing because that familiarity has a positive feeling to them. But yeah, it's scary. It's scary. Well, let me just go back to this doc here. Domestic abuse is linked to depression and homelessness. Women who experience domestic abuse are twice as likely to experience depression, and 40% of homeless women state domestic abuse as a contributory factor to their homelessness. But again, this here shows fault in the system, doesn't it? Because this is I've known people who have been affected by domestic violence in the UK, and they wanted to separate mum from children because they didn't have anywhere for mum to go with her children. So they wanted to send children to one place and mum actually 130 miles somewhere else. And this person, who was in a violent relationship, decided to go back to the person who was, you know, the violent person, because they didn't want to be split from their children. They didn't want that. But fancy the system putting them in that position. There you go. Good for you. You stayed solid, gave them to Jules, and didn't feed into it. But her ex wasn't going to pass up the opportunity. Damn sure. Yes, he did. He absolutely did try. Domestic abuse can lead women to suicide, and we know this. We know it. It's a sad fact. In fact, and I'll tell you this this story here, and this is a true story. When I worked in retail management, we had a young girl with us who was working in the office. So I was friends with her. I left the business. She actually asked to meet up, and I had breakfast with her, and I hadn't seen her for a while. But she told me that the year before, her mum everyone had gathered for Christmas, and there was like a family tradition to all go out and get the tree. And when everybody went out to go and get the tree, her mum took her own life while they were all out getting the Christmas tree. She'd never said anything at all. But she had been abused by the neighbour when she was younger. She'd been abused by the neighbour and never ever told anyone, but it had just come to a head. Think I've just won bingo. Exactly, leaving doesn't mean crap. I moved to another state. But yeah, it is horrendous. So we know that. 20% of children in the UK have lived with an adult perpetrating domestic violence. That's 1 in 5 kids. 1 in 5 kids. 20% of children in the UK. And these are figures just in the UK. This is. Again, we'll go on to US in a sec. Domestic abuse gets worse during pregnancy. About 20% of women in refuge services are pregnant or have recently given birth. Young girls in the UK report high incidence of sexual violence. And this is scary, this is. And this takes you back to, like we speak about Angel. 41% of UK girls aged 14 to 17 in an intimate relationship experience some form of sexual violence from their partner. 41%, let that sink in. 41% of UK girls 14 to 17. 93% of defendants in domestic abuse cases are male. 84% of victims are female. And yet women are 3 times more likely to be arrested for incidents of abuse in the UK. Thank you very much, Amber, for gifting a membership. Thank you. Who got it? Crime and crochet are my hyper focus. They actually got it. Congratulations. Domestic abuse costs the UK an estimated 23 billion a year. Seems a strange cost. 23 billion. They still can't get rid of it. And here are some US. An average of 24 people per minute are victims of rape, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner in the United States. 24 people per minute. 24 people per minute. More than 12 million women and men over the course of a single year. So just as a comparison, the UK is approximately 2 million. So the US, by comparison, is 12 million. 12 million in the US. Nearly 3 in 10 women, 29%, and 1 in 10 men, 10%, in the US have experienced rape, physical violence, and or stalking by a partner, and reported it having a related impact on their functioning. It's scary statistics. Just under 15% of women, 14.8%, and 4% of men in the US have been injured as a result of intimate partner violence that included rape, physical violence, and or stalking by an intimate partner. And again, like Karen says here, which is a huge thing to consider. Remember that these are just the statistics that we know about. These are not the statistics of every case. This is just ones that are registered. So these are the ones that have gone through the system. And you can imagine this won't even be scratching the surface. I imagine, like in the UK, remember what they said, that this represents likely only a quarter of what is actually happening. So, you're looking at probably 8 million cases in the UK, really. And what you're looking at about 48 million people in the US. Amy Lee says, people often forget domestic violence and abuse doesn't always mean partner to partner. I went through hell as a kid. My brother, my stepdad, and others were my daily nightmares. Kids can suffer too, which is a very good point. Very good point. It can be family members. You should be looking out for if your child doesn't want to go to certain family members or they're standoffish about that. What do we got? 1 in 4 women, 24.3%, and 1 in 7 men, 13.8, aged 18 and older in the US have been the victim of severe physical violence by an intimate partner in their lifetime. Intimate partner violence alone affects more than 12 million people every year. 12 million people every year. Intimate partner violence. Over 1 in 3 women, 35.6%, and 1 in 4 men, 28.5% in the US have experienced rape, physical violence, and or stalk and by an intimate partner in their lifetime. Almost half of all women and men in the US have experienced psychological aggression by an intimate partner in their lifetime. 48.4 and 48.8. So look at that. That's almost half of all men and women. Psychological aggression. Women ages 18 to 24 and 25 to 34 generally experience the highest rates of intimate partner violence. And just as a comparable, in the UK, it's generally people under the age of 25. So in the US, 18 to 24 and 25 to 34. But yes, in the UK, it is generally people under the age of 25. From 1994 to 2010, approximately 4 in 5 victims of intimate partner violence were female. Most female victims of intimate partner violence were previously victimized by the same offender at rates of 77% for women ages 18 to 24, 76% for ages 25 to 34, and 81% for ages 35 to 49. People reread the chat. Let's have a look what's going on into chat. Danny, what is Danny saying? I hope he reads the comments later. People reread the chat. I'm getting emotionally exhausted here and a little frustrated. Thank you for listening, and I hope the message. What is the message? What have I missed? Yes, when he doesn't pay the mortgage, locks you out of the house, turns off your phone, hides the keys, you won't get to work on time, or you're ill or injured, you lose your house, you lose your car. And this is the stuff what Mrs. Harsh went through, Danny. Exactly the same stuff. Her ex-partner would go out of the house, he would disconnect the TV when he went out, so her and the children had no access to the TV. He would disconnect the washing machine so that they couldn't use the washing machine, turn off the power, all sorts of things, hide keys, lock them out, lock them in. It's these are things that are not easy to deal with. You have to walk away. Eventually something's going to happen that you're not going to be able to walk away from, and you have to walk out of it. You have to get out of it. But the downside is the only way that you can walk out of that is to have either the strength to walk out of it, and if you've been alienated from everyone, then that's something that you then have to do on your own. But if you've got children, for instance, I think you have to consider the effects that this situation has on the children. Do you know what I mean? What do I do? And it's back to that. Do I stay in this situation, or do I walk out of it because it's the best thing for me and my children? You get one life, don't you? We're here for a very short period of time. But nothing. It ain't easy. It ain't easy, but this is why we want to do videos like this, because I think that once you're in it and you're up to your neck in it, then it takes a lot more strength and a lot more a lot more to get out of it. And it's like when these turn around and say that it takes 7 attempts before someone leaves. But you can't just sit in it. You just can't. You can't sit in that and just ignore everything. Let's have a look. I've lost £40 due to how bad things have gotten here. It's obviously affected my health, but I'm his caretaker. He's dying, so I can't just walk away. No, I know it's hard. It's hard because I know, we've spoken previously, Kristen, and you say, it is hard, and you're his caretaker, and he's dying, but you also have to take time for yourself as well. At the end of the day, you can't help somebody if you are unable to, and eventually you'll be unable to because you will burn yourself out. So you do have to take time. Now, whether that's just every so often go out and go for a walk for half an hour to get yourself out of the situation, you have to do something. And sometimes you just have to. I think it's the biggest hurdle we have to overcome in our lives is ourself. We are the people who put hurdles in the way. I can't leave this person because of this. I can't leave this person because of that. Because I've got a job, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. We have a house together. I'm financially dependent on this person. What's better, to walk away and deal with that and get help, or be killed? And again, with this situation, with Kristen, like this Kristen here, he's got nothing, no way he can go anywhere, and my conscience won't let me. But again, you have to understand that you there's only so much you can do as an individual. There is only so much you can do. And it does get to the point where if you burn yourself out, what good will you do then? What good will come of that, of burning yourself out? My grandmother put space between her and her husband, but also did still take care of him until the end. I understand that, Christmas is a heavy burden. It is. It is, but you have to take care of yourself. You do have to take care of yourself. You can't just take care of everybody else and ignore the fact that you also need to be okay. You have to. You have to take care of yourself to be able to take care of someone else. Exactly, Dixie. That's why they turn around, and if you're in an aeroplane and the aeroplane starts to, descend, then you put your own mask on before you even put your children's mask on. But, it's not easy. I left with nothing but my kids, and I completely started over. It was our lives on the line. I'm not a victim, but a survivor. And that's it. And do you know what? That's what you have to do. If you're staying because of a financial commitment, then what's more important? Your life, your well-being, your health, your mental health, the health of your children, the mental health of your children. Is that less important than anything else? Because I don't think that is. I think the most important things in your life are your own life, and if you've got children, their life. And if the situation that you're in puts either your life and your well-being at risk, or your children's well-being, at risk, then there is nothing that should keep you in that situation. You should do everything you can to seek out and reach out for any form of help that there is available. And there will be help available. There will be help. But it's going to find it. It's getting out there and finding it. Whether it's just groups, whether it's people who are in the same situation as you, forums online, domestic abuse forums. There will be people, there will be things online where you can go to and you can speak to them. You go to that would be my first port of call, to find support groups, support networks online on the internet, because you're reaching out to people who are either in it and dealing with it, or they've been in it and dealt with it, and they will be able to provide you with the resource that you need to get yourself out of it. You're not alone. You're not the first person to go through it. You won't be the last person to go through it, but you need to get out of it. You need to get out of it. What do we got? Very scared to get out of the way. Just reading through some of your comments. I'm going to pull this down here. I'll pull this down here, so at least I can, I don't have to keep looking up there, so you see the side of my head. Side of my head. Just going to go through some of these comments. I don't want to make this live too long because people won't watch it on the replay, and I think it's quite an important one that I'd like more people to watch. But I think this is going to be something that we do quite regularly alongside the mental health live that I am going to be doing more of. I've just been waiting to sort some stuff out, getting set back up so I can do it more, and we're there. We're finally at a place where we can sort it out. So have we got any specific questions in chat? Any specific questions? Let me bring this chat down there as well, because I should be able to ping them up on screen. Let's have a look. My May. I think most of us feel we can't do it alone, and having children is a scary job, especially when someone is fighting in front of the children. There's always help available. There is. Some, like I say, it's a big step. It is a big step. The first step is to understand that the situation that you're in is one that you need to get out of. Once you've overcome that hurdle, believe me, that's a massive part of it, that many people don't even get that far. So once you've got into a position where you think, I can't stay in this situation, that's when you then start actively finding ways to get out of that situation. And the good thing about social media is that it is a massive resource, an online resource, and you will find, like I said before, you'll find people who are like-minded. I've either been in it, coming out of it, and find people to talk to. But with respect of the people like Angel, if you are a parent, I think that is a hard one. You know, if you're an adult and you're going through it, it's difficult, it's hard, but you've just got to you've got to find the strength, you've got to find the resilience to get yourself out of it. But if you're someone who's got a child who you think is going through it, if you've got a son or a daughter, then you know that is something that, again, I think this goes back to school and education. We have to do more to educate people to look out for things. And maybe if you're a parent who suspects it, you need to go into it probably with a bit more sort of kid gloves, and kind of just make sure that, you know, that keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer. I think that's probably more of a way to deal with it. Even if you fucking hate the person who your child is with, again, keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer. Because once you go against that person, that is the first sign that's the in. That is, because that's how these we'll call them predators, they operate. They do things that makes the parent go against them, so then they can leverage that against the victim. So don't fall for that. Don't fall for it. Keep them close. Keep them close. Pixie Dot. I'm proud of myself, and so you should be. I have been reading Pixie. It took me to 5 months pregnant with this child to get out. He hit me when I was pregnant too. Yeah. Horrendous. Please check the National Centre on Domestic and Sexual Violence. The Power and Control Wheel shows the many different types of abuse, which we will do that on another night. Like I say, I'm going to do more of these. I'm going to make this more of a regular thing. So again, we can be a bit more of a resource for people who may be struggling, maybe having issues. This is kind of an introduction into it, the first video about it. I just wanted to speak about Angel again, just to bring people, make people aware of the fact that she, these things can happen. And she's a survivor. Even though she is a victim, she is a spot. She didn't, her life was changed, but her life wasn't ended. And the people involved in doing it to her, yeah, evil monsters. I'm writing a book from mother's point of view. Once I get a desk, etc. set up, that'll be good. Start journaling just to get it out. This reality alone is kind of treacherous to move through. But is there anything before we finish up? Like I say, I just want to keep this around an hour, and we will keep your eyes peeled, because I will probably do this again, not next Sunday, but the Sunday after, where we'll go through some of the other bits and pieces and the resources that are out there for people, and talk a bit more about things to specifically look out for. But and if you yourself want to reach out to me by email, you can do so. I will. My email is in the description on every video that I put out. Every video has got my email. Just go into the description and read it, and reach out if you want to tell me a story, and you want this to be shared with the community who join us on these. Let me know, and we can talk about it. If you just want to talk, or to bring, information forward that you feel that would be helpful to the community, do that as well, because then we can do the live and I can share what you want to share with the community that joins us here. But for now, I'm going to call it an evening. Thank you to those of you who did join us. I know this has been a smaller and more intimate live. I think the more we do them, I think more people will join us. But I hope that between us, we can, help one another. But that's the plan anyway. But anyway, you have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, what's left of it. And let's hope that this week was last week a bad week? Let's hope that this week brings some positives. Maybe we'll get some answers to some of the outstanding cases that we're talking about. But I will just say, keep your eyes peeled for video 1 tomorrow, because we're going to be talking about the cesspool that is the University of Idaho. And funnily enough, I'm talking about some of the things like what we're talking about tonight. Sort of abusive and that sort of stuff going on at the university, and the university hiding it. But that's okay, April. Thank you. Like I say, thank you all of you who joined. And let's do this more. Let's do this more often, and let's become a bit of a resource for one another. But until then, take care. Like I say, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Get a good night's sleep, because it could be a long week. Until tomorrow. Yeah, it's still tomorrow. It's like 10 to midnight here. So I'll catch you all tomorrow. Take care.